All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. It's time to go ahead and follow up with the S24 Ultra once again. Now, the S24 Ultra is a device that I've been using straight through for the little over 3 months with this particular one right here. I've had several different colors I've changed to initially, and I settled in on this titanium black color for the one that I would keep. So I've had this particular phone right here on my line for 90 days exactly. So I'm going to talk about how I feel about this device after using it straight through for that short period of time. This is in no way a long-term review because it's only been 3 months and the phone has not really been in a lot of people's hands. You still might see some people saying unboxing or, just got my phone or whatever. It's like, whoa. So, I mean, you got to respect it though. That's just what it is. Everybody they don't jump out there initially when things pop up and come for sale. They wait on discounts. And that's ultimately the reason that I actually have this particular one right here. I was willing to cancel my order. Man, I did it several times. I was willing to cancel it just so I can get this phone for half off. No, at the time, this is a 512 gig version. It's a 512. And I was able to cancel my original order through Samsung, and I grabbed this one because Google Fi had it for half off for the 512 gig version. So to me, this was a no-brainer. I've had Google Fi since they were Project Fi, and I remember when they first launched the services, I jumped right on it, and I've been a member ever since. And so some of the perks for doing service business with them is you can get some really good deals when phones launch. And this just happened to be one of them. So you can see here, it's a 512 gig, 12 gigs of RAM. And so that alone to me was worth me waiting, which is why you didn't see a video from me jump straight out there when everybody else did it on the day one launch and everything. You didn't see that. Now, with this being a 12 gig, you can go up to the 8 gigs and give yourself a virtual 8. So it basically looks like you've got 20 gigs of RAM. But I've been appreciating this device, man. It has been a great device, and I've been using it. Now for that promo, if you're going to ask, the promo's no longer, we're talking about over 3 months ago when it happened. They were offering this phone for half off. You just need to keep the phone active for 4 months on your Google Fi account. If you're a newer customer, I think you had to take the credits every month for 24 months. So with me being a member of Google Fi since the beginning, my deals are typically only keep it active for 90 days or keep it active for 2, 3, 4 months. And 4 months is the longest I've ever seen them tell me I had to keep a phone active before I can switch it to any SIM. So that is something that I really enjoy. That is a huge perk from being a Google Fi member. Get in there, stay in there, and you won't have to do those 24 months and all that stuff after a while. I remember when they weren't doing 24 months. I remember when they were doing 30 days active, and then you could move it to any provider or just use any other SIM card. But they kind of got hyped to that, and they got hip to that and say, people are pretty much keeping service for 30 days and canceling and taking our unlocked phones elsewhere. Well, these phones are unlocked. Even though it tells you to keep it for the promos, it tells you to keep it active for a certain amount of days. These phones are unlocked. So if you take the SIM card out or move the number to another device, it's going to send you a message and say, hey, we see you're not active. Remember, for the promo, this, and the other. And if you don't, they're going to charge you the full amount. So just be aware of that. For me, it's not a problem to have a promotion like this where it's only keeping it active with this particular phone number in this phone for 4 months. Yeah, that's not a hard thing to do for me because I don't typically switch my Google Fi things around. Like I don't typically switch my numbers around. I leave my Google Fi in the Google Fi SIM slot. So that's why it's just not difficult for me to make that happen. So yeah, I'm just kind of excited to bring you a follow-up on this thing. Let me get rid of these messages here. Let me just turn on Do Not Disturb because I'm going to be getting a lot of emails and stuff like that, and I don't want to be bothered while I'm shooting a video. So and let me go back to this. Now, this phone has Wi-Fi 7. So if I go in here and connect to I have a Wi-Fi 7 router, and it is right here. As you can see, it has a 7 by it. It typically stays on there. These messages. It typically stays on my Wi-Fi router, my Wi-Fi 7 router, but the rest of my house is Wi-Fi 6E. So, you know, if I'm being honest about that Wi-Fi 7 and things like that, I don't see that it's that different. Like, I don't know if you can see that 7 up there next to my Wi-Fi. I don't know that the speeds are that much more different than when it's on Wi-Fi 6E. But it's just a stable connection is what I hardly ever have a drop in Wi-Fi because I have a mesh system going out through this entire house. Then I just have one Wi-Fi 7 router, which is here in my office. So as far as connectivity goes, the Wi-Fi is strong. Now let's talk about the network. Now you just heard me talk about Google Fi for the majority of the beginning of this video. And so Google Fi service has been great for me. I used to travel with Google Fi a lot. Like I literally had T-Mobile and Google Fi only. Well, I dropped T-Mobile about almost a year ago because their service is so bad now. When they joined with Sprint, it went downhill for me. I'm not saying it got worse for you, but for me, my service went bad. And I was furious because I had been with T-Mobile for going on 26 and a half years, even before they were named T-Mobile. And I didn't want to switch. I liked the free Netflix. I liked all the promos I was getting, but it just wasn't worth it after a while. That's how it was for me. So I switched to Visible. I tried a bunch of different companies, but Visible turned out to be the one perfect service. Visible service runs on Verizon's network, and that is where I'll eventually use this phone on my main SIM card when the next version of whatever comes out. And if I choose to buy it with my Google Fi account, this phone will be replaced by whatever phone it is and so on. But network on Google Fi is absolutely great, man. Google Fi is really good. I had a short break in service with Google Fi, but not with this phone. I was traveling years ago and the service went kind of bad on me. But I switched phones and it kind of just went back to the normal great service. So this phone has antenna lines all around the entire device. You can see them, they're all over the place. And you know, you should have good service with this phone if you're on Verizon, and you should have good service with this phone depending on your location of your current provider. I'm not saying that this phone has the best reception, but for where I live and on Google Fi, it is great reception for some reason. And I know T-Mobile service is bad where I live now, but this particular phone, you can see the strong signal I have there. And I'm pretty sure they still share T-Mobile's network. If I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they still share T-Mobile's network with something that USA, I don't know who it is anymore. But the fact of the matter is, it's really good. It's really good on the network. So good deal aside, pricing aside, you know, all of that, because some of you guys didn't get a good deal on it. You had to pay full cost, or, you know, you just got a good deal or whatever. All that aside, the performance on here is the performance. I mean, this is a social media phone for me, and, you know, phone calls, obviously. But I got to tell you, performance wise, I don't see anything bad happening with this phone over the next several years. I'll have it probably, because remember, I didn't trade in, get it here. I didn't trade in my S23 Ultra. I decided to keep it. Aw, she's beautiful, right? I decided to keep it. Must be prom time or something. I decided to keep it, and shout out to Kels. That's Night Tech's wife or whatever. Shout out to Night Tech too. I decided to keep this, and I was like, I'm not gonna get rid of it. And I use it from time to time. I'll put my SIM card in here and use this from time to time. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and pop my SIM card in here from the phone I'm recording with, which is the Galaxy S24 Plus. The Galaxy S24 Plus, man, this phone is great. And I grabbed all of the Galaxy S lineup again, except for the small one. I really wanted to get the small one, but I didn't get it. I should have gotten it. But yeah, the S23 Ultra, I decided to keep it, man. I decided to keep it. I was like, I'm not getting rid of it. I'm tired of giving up my good phones for lower prices that I think they're worth more. So I was like, I'm just going to keep it. And I'm glad I did. It's a hot phone. It's a very nice phone. I don't have any complaints about it. And I definitely use that one a lot because I can rotate that SIM card. I bought that one directly from Samsung. But performance on here, man, you shouldn't have any issues. I'm saying you should not have any issues. I hope you don't. You know, I mean, if you do, report it to Samsung, get it taken care of, and, you know, you'll be all good. Aside of that, you know, I use this phone to record a lot of footage. And as soon as you pop it over here, this is the phone that I use to record content on the channel. This is my primary top-down shot phone that I use for the channel. This is it. It's just content for the channel on here. That's all this here. I can scroll through here and you'll just see a bunch of content on the channel. That's where all the memory is going for this, is content on the channel. So this phone, coupled with an external microphone, you don't need an external microphone, but I couple it with an external microphone because I feel like it just shines. It's just better that way. It just does really good. I think this phone does phenomenal to record with, but where I think it still lacks is HDR content, and that's why I rely heavily on my iPhone 15 Pro. I think the iPhone 15 lineup and just the iPhones in general have some of the best content for HDR. There's just no denying that. It's just really good, man. Restart that phone. It's got a software update. I just think this phone right here is great for shooting content, man. I turned off HDR though because I just could not get with the HDR on content on the Samsung phones, at least these current ones. The 23 Ultra HDR is really good. The 23 Ultra is just a great phone in general, which is why I just didn't get rid of it. But this phone right here, man, the HDR content, I just couldn't get into it. It just was not flowing right in certain areas when I record with it. And I just like the iPhone's HDR content better. But overall, this is my phone that I use for recording on the channel. It's just like phone stuff. That's what's on here. I record everything with this phone, and the external microphone and everything is the same one, you know, that I've had for a long time. I just think this is a great phone, and because if I want to edit on this, oh man, it's a wrap. I got a big ginormous screen to edit on. I got the S Pen that comes with the device, which is one of the main reasons I think a person should probably get this phone, is if you're looking for something to edit with or create with or just use for work. This is like the ultimate phone for you because you have a pen, stylus, or whatever you want to call it right at your disposal at any given time. The software on here is top notch. The sidebar here is one that a lot of people don't use. I typically forget about it, if I'm being honest, because I have the S Pen suite. It's just really that good. And so when I'm editing in PowerDirector Pro, because that's what I use for editing, I know a lot of you guys say use the Samsung editor. Yeah, it's still not good enough. So PowerDirector Pro is one that, you know, once you purchase it, you might as well just use it. So, but I feel like Samsung as a whole, this product right here is really good. Another area where obviously it shines is the display. I'm going to turn on a video here. Now, this beautiful video here was shot with the iPhone 15 Pro, but you know, the fact is this phone just does great, man. So I'm going to crank up the volume a little bit here, let you hear just a little bit of the speaker on here. The content on here is just so beautiful when watching. And if you look here, what I have the brightness set at, look at how low the brightness is. That's like 20%, maybe 20% or so. That is just beautiful. It's so vivid and so punchy and so bright, you don't need to do much to it. So I'm going to play it here. Here we are, the Model Y. A couple of weeks of ownership now. I own the Model 3 for a lot longer, so this is my first experience of actually owning the Model Y. So if you don't know, Tesla was offering a substantial, just if you passed it up, if you knew you qualified, you were crazy, the 0.99%. So this video while not shot with this phone, is phenomenal, man. The display itself is so punchy, so vibrant, so vivid, so crisp, so clear, so clean. You cannot deny Samsung's quality. That's just what it is. I really, really, really enjoy what they have going on here. And, you know, that same dislike that I have is always going to be here. Oh, I don't like it's really boxy. I genuinely don't, folks. I don't like that it's so boxy like this, but I got to respect it because it is this phone is banging, totally worth it, really good screen. I can deal with the boxiness. The way I offset that sometimes is I put a case on it. And I've got several. Let me see which one is this one, because they all look the same. Anyway, I got the Onyx I use on it. And then I have the main one I've been using lately is the Pitaka. So, you know, it's up to you to use what case you want, but that's how I offset is as I use the Onyx on here, it kind of softens up the edges a little bit. So that's just what I do. But this is just another thing about this phone that just makes it so good. I literally have been rocking with this Pixel. Like I always have a Pixel or whatever, because I'm using the Pixel 8A right now. That's my little go-to Pixel phone right now, since I'm kind of in that review phase. This is what I'm using for a Pixel. It's no secret. And then I keep the iPhone 15 Pro as another SIM card as well. But this phone, man, this phone deserves so much respect with the display. It's incredible. It's just beautiful. So that is just got to be one of the biggest selling points outside of the S Pen. But another thing is the battery. You know, the cameras are good and everything, and you know, you can record beautiful content with it. But that gripe about the HDR and the boxiness on the corners, those are kind of the same things I've been complaining about, or had a not too fond of. I'm going to complain about, but not too fond of since a long time, since the beginning. So that probably won't change. And the way I offset that is I just put a case on it, and then I just turn off HDR for recording. And other than that, it's flawless cameras. Now the battery life is got to be one of the top areas. I am shocked at how well this battery does. And I guess I shouldn't be, because really they didn't do anything with the battery. They optimized the phone with the current processor. That's something I wish that, you know, they would change. Stop telling us that you can't put a bigger battery in here when you probably can. I would deal with a little bit more thickness for a bigger battery. I mean, that makes for more time off the charger. This phone already goes a couple days or more off the charger. It would be cool, you know. I like how they flattened out the hardware on the front and back and size and everything. It's just a high phone, man. I mean, I use the S24 Plus as a daily as well. But the S24 Plus is like that freebie that Samsung, or that gimme. It's kind of that middle ground. They know it's pretty much this phone without the S Pen. And to me, what I would say is a better shaped body. But the Ultra is where it's at. People want what they consider the best, the biggest and the baddest. That is how our society is kind of set up. So you're almost programmed to go for the Ultra and overlook the Plus, when in fact the Plus is a really great option and probably more suitable for most people. However, that's already been discussed in plenty of videos. This S24 Ultra has been great to me for the last over 90 days I've had it. And I don't anticipate it going bad anytime soon, because I still have my trusty S23 Ultra, and I doubt I'll get rid of any one of these going forward, because I just decided I'm going to stop trading in my phones unless it's a really, really, really good deal. And I think the real thing here is that the S23 Ultra has just done so well. If you have an my screen protector is peeling a little bit and things like that, but it's been dropped multiple times. Sides look a little scuffed, but they're really not too bad. But it just goes to show that Samsung is making some really good phones. And if you hold on to them and don't jump out there for the next best thing that they say, you're going to be fine. Simply put. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed the S24 Ultra. 90 days later, or a little bit more than 90 days later, or just, you know, whenever I've had it since it came, I guess, or whatever. I'm really enjoying it. And I think that if you make a decision on, you know, hey, I want to finally get the Ultra, because a lot of people don't have this yet. I think it's going to determine, pick a color, get ready for the bigger design, depending on what you're coming from, and get ready to be blown away by these cameras, the speakers, the screen, the performance, the battery, just everything about it. Everything about it is so good. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know what you think about the Galaxy S24 Ultra if you're using it right now. When did you get yours too? I'll see you in the next video. Take care.